Today I'm going to be filming my August wrap-up, and it's been a great reading month. I haven't read this many books in a month in ages because I've been off from work, so I have the time and energy to read. I think there's a total of 9 books, so I think we should just get started right away. Okay, so the first book I read is Beyond the Break by Heather Buchta. This is a truly beautiful story about Lovette, who has 2 rules. She has no surfing and no dating. She and her family used to be crazy about surfing until one day when her brother got into a very bad accident while surfing. So she's not allowed to surf anymore, and she also made a promise to God that if her brother would be better after the accident, she promised that she would only have one relationship, and that is with God. Her brother got better, and so she stuck with her promise to God. And she's living like a good life, doing her thing, until this one boy, Jake, enters her life. Jake is an old friend from the past, and he remembered her as like this super cool surfer girl who wasn't afraid of anything. So when he hears that she doesn't surf anymore, he's kind of got this mission that he wants to get her back to surfing. And Lovette is kind of stuck in this place where she wants to keep her promise with God, and she doesn't want to betray her parents because her parents has banned her from surfing. They are super mad if they were to find out. But Jake kind of helps Lovette overcome her fear and help and support her. He's there for her, and their relationship kind of evolves into something very, very special, and it's a truly beautiful story. And what got me to buy this was definitely the cover, and it's a surfer story, and who doesn't love surfing? And I think it's just a very beautiful story about Lovette and overcoming fears and obstacles. I ended up giving this book 3 out of 5 stars. So definitely pick this one up if you're looking for a cool and romantic and sweet story about a girl who found her way back into what she's loving, which is surfing. The next book I read is The Score by L. Kennedy. This is his 3rd book in the Off-Campus series, and there's 4 books out, I believe. In here we follow Allie and Dean. Allie's about to graduate, and she doesn't know at all what she's planning on doing after. She's also recently got out of a really long relationship, so she doesn't really know what to do with her life, and she's kind of not at all ready to go into something new. Dean gets everything he wants. He gets good grades, he gets all the girls he wants, and he's one of those typical guys that doesn't want a relationship. He just wants to have fun. After a wild night together, Dean is surprised when Allie rejects him. He's used to getting everything he wants, and he's not used to being rejected. And that kind of makes him even more attracted to Allie, who's really like hard to get and doesn't want anything to do with him. And it's a hot, passionate story about these two, and I just love this series. I can't wait to read the 4th book. It's a new adult series, by the way, and it's just L. Kennedy has a way of writing these books, and I definitely recommend this series if you haven't yet picked it up. But definitely be aware of like the language, and it's kind of like new adult, so just be aware of that. Also, I believe it was in this book that we finally got the You and Your Hand scene by Pink, which is like, I'm not gonna tell more about it, just read it please. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers, and this is a very cool, atmospheric, and kind of a fun read. We follow Rosemary, who kind of wants to get away from her troubled past, so she hops on the Wayfarer, which is like this ship, and it has everything she wants. Small quiet space so she can relax, but also like an adventure off into the galaxy. It kind of turns out that it was more than she expected. All these people on the ship with different personalities and their different species, it's kind of turning out to be like a family to her. And they get this job opportunity to build a bridge or a tunnel to another planet, and you get to follow them as they tackle the obstacles that come in the way, and it's just a very atmospheric read in the galaxy, and I love books set in space, and if you do too, please read this. It's got more books in this series, and I can't wait to pick them up. I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. The next book I read is Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. This book, you guys, one of my new favorite books of all times. We follow Misha and Ryan, and back in the day, they live in different cities, different towns, and different schools. Their teacher had this project where you have a pen pal and kind of like, you know, I guess learn your writing skills. And the teacher thought that Ryan and Misha were both guys, so they became a pair, and they were written to each other for 7 years. and Ryan is a girl and Misha is a guy. And for 7 years they've been writing to each other, and they made up a deal that they were not gonna see pictures of each other, they were not gonna look each other up online, they weren't gonna know how they look like. So they have this special connection via letters, which is also so unique and cool to me that they have. And suddenly Misha stops answering the letters, and Ryan don't understand why. And as a reader, you didn't really either understand. I was very confused. You do get some answers later on though, but you were very confused as to why he stopped writing after 7 years. And all of a sudden at Ryan's school, this new guy comes who calls himself Mason, but in reality that's Misha, and Ryan has no idea. And Misha is fierce with Ryan. He hates her, which also you didn't really understand until later on. So it's such a like angsty, perfect romance that I loved it so much. And I love the fact that, you know, they had this special connection before they saw each other, and also how cool with this school setting that Ryan has no idea that that's Misha, and Misha just knows that it's Ryan. Just, it got all the anxious and cute and teenage stuff that you would want in a book like this. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars, of course. I love Penelope Douglas. The next book I read is Girl in the Walls by A.J. Gnews. This was very unique and a little bit of a weird book for me. I enjoyed it, I did, but it was also kind of weird. We follow this girl, Elise, who lived in this house with her parents, and her parents passed away, and she's still living in this house in the walls, in the attic, while there's a new family living there. So she's kind of, you know, hiding and trying to live her life as best she can. And she's fine. No one really knows that she's there until the boys that lives in the house, there's 2 boys and their parents, notices that stuff is missing. Food is gone that they haven't eaten, and they realize that the TV has been on when no one is home, and that the light is on. They hear stuff in the attic, and they think, of course, it's a ghost, a bad spirit. I mean, I think that's your first reaction of what you would think. So they decide to hire someone to like cast her out, but that turns out to be even more of a trouble than they thought. And it's a really unique book and weird, but also kind of cool, and I'm glad I read it. I really am. I did give this 2 out of 5 stars. It sounds bad, but honestly it was good. I just kind of trying to be more cautious with my rating, and yeah, I think 2 out of 5 stars. The next book I read is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens, which, oh my god, what a book. I can't even tell you guys. We follow Kaya, who's also called the Marsh Girl, who lives with her family in a small town in North Carolina. And you get to follow her from a very young age to her entire life, basically. And her parents and her siblings leave her, so she's all on her own, trying to figure out life, and kind of has to grow up and live by herself. And we also follow another timeline where there has been a murder of this like really popular guy, and people suspect the Marsh Girl. And Marsh Girl has a reputation of being this weird, lonely, kind of disturbed girl, but in reality Kaya is very intelligent, super passionate about what she's loved, and it's just, she's a very good person, but she has a reputation of the entire town, I guess. And we get to follow her as she's trying to cope with life on her own, and her passion for the nature and the creatures in the marsh. And it also has a beautiful love story in it, and it's just truly a magic book. If you haven't read it, please do. It's one of my favorite books so far this year, and I will forever cherish it. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars, of course. I love it so much. The next book I read is The Vanishing by Britt Bennett. In this, we follow 2 sisters who grew up in a small Black community town, and as they turn 16, they decide to kind of move, or kind of run away, I guess, together. And after a while, they split. And one goes off living in a white world, marrying a white man, and the other one lives off in a Black world, marrying a Black man. And both of them get daughters. And what's really cool about this, I think, is that how the daughters kind of find a way to each other accidentally. Like, of all the people in the world, the daughters find a path to each other and kind of reconnects their family. And it's a very cool and important story, I think, about race, identity, and family. I do think it was a little bit boring at times, but definitely a super important read, and I really do recommend it. I ended up giving it 2 out of 5 stars. The next book I read is It Ends With Us by Colin Hoover. This was my first Colin Hoover book and definitely not my last one. I really enjoyed it. We follow Lily, who she's come a long way from growing up in a small town. She graduated college, she moved to Boston, and she even opened her own business, a flower shop, which has been her dream her entire life, basically. And she meets this guy, Ryle, who seems to be like the perfect guy that ever existed. Too good to be true kind of deal. And she's kind of immersed into this relationship with him. He's very like forward and arrogant and flirty and stuff like that. So that kind of happened pretty fast until an old love from Lily's past show up, Atlas, who has a very special place in her heart. He and her had a very special relationship when they were younger, and he was her first love, and he's back. They accidentally meet in his restaurant that he owns. So she's kind of starting to question her relationship with the Ryle and how a true love relationship is actually supposed to be. And it's a very beautiful but also like hard story to read. Definitely trigger warning for abuse, sexual abuse, and like domestic violence. Just be aware of that. But a truly beautiful story, and I did cry at the end. I'm not an easy crier. I did cry at the end, and Colin Hoover has a way with words, and it was truly a heart-wrenching love story. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. The last book I read this month is The Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. This was a very cool read. I love pirates. If you do also, please read this. We follow this cool badass main female lead. Her name is Alosa, and she's the daughter of the Pirate King, and she's sent on a mission to retrieve this map that is leading to an old treasure. So she gets captured by her enemy's ship, which she wants to get captured, so she does. What they don't know is that she has a plan, and she also has a trick up her sleeve to get these men to do what she wants. And we find out stuff about her that's really cool, and we also have a very slow burn romance. A little bit too slow for me, but I did really enjoy it, and I did really ship them, but a little bit too slow for me. But a super cool and adventurous pirate story with a cool badass female lead. And there is a second book that I actually really want to get my hands on. I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. That was all the books that I read this month. I feel like it's been a really good reading month. I've read 2 5-star reads. I read 2 4-star reads, 3 3-star reads, and 2 2-star reads. So no book got 1 star. I think that's a pretty good reading month. And 2 5-star, oh my gosh, yeah, it's such a good collection this month. And if you have read any of these books, please let me know if you enjoyed them or not. We all have different opinions, and it's okay. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in one of my next videos.